Now to the stunning fall of a man who used to be a prince and the fallout from a man who used the rich and powerful and ended up dead in prison. Overnight, former Prince Andrew arrested over his ties to sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew's brother, King Charles, in full support of the investigation. Live to London, and CBS News royal contributor Amanda Foreman. Amanda, a lot of focus on Andrew's relationship with Epstein in the context of sexual misconduct, but this arrest is related to trade secrets. What exactly does that mean?
Well, the trade secrets that are being referred to are confidential reports that former Prince Andrew received while he was a trade envoy up until 2010-11, and it is alleged that he passed on these confidential reports to Epstein, and that Epstein intended to use them, or did use them, to get advantage for making trade deals with various countries, including Afghanistan, for example, Hong Kong, Vietnam, China. And so these are serious allegations.
There has been a lot of discussion in our world about why Epstein did what he did. And one of the assertions is that potentially he put powerful people in compromising positions, compromat, so to speak, to then leverage that to gain in other ways. Do you think that that allegation could get some discussion here as we see the prince's case go forward?
Yes, and in fact, this is what insiders and observers, both royal watchers and of politics in Great Britain, are hoping for, because this is the minestrone soup of scandals. It's incredible, but it isn't just former Prince Andrew. It isn't just Andrew. It is also the Labour government now in power, and they were also in power during these alleged crimes that may have taken place. The other person accused is Lord Mandelson, who was the business secretary at the time. He is also accused of handing sensitive reports to Epstein, who is a great friend of his. Everybody got drawn in, including then Prime Minister Tony Blair. What you're dealing with is a very, very, very clever person with Epstein, and in the case of Andrew, a very stupid person. And one used the other. Both thought that they were using each other, but actually Epstein always seems to have got the upper hand. Andrew's job was to be a trade envoy. He wasn't a civil servant, but he was working in a public capacity. His job was to attract investment to Great Britain. And so he thought that he was acting in Britain's interest by hanging out with Epstein, and in that way that people do, and they sort of seem to be rubbing each other's backs, and you do me a favor and I do you a favor, and that kind of thing. Blind and stupid and easily manipulated. But this scandal goes much, much deeper than just Andrew.
Right. When we see these threads getting pulled, you have to wonder, to what benefit? Was it solely to Epstein's benefit? Certainly more threads to pull on this story, and likely for years to come. Let's just go out to the macro here. You're seeing the reaction there in London and elsewhere on that side of the globe. This is explosive. This is history-making scandal, no?
Oh, it is absolutely a history-making scandal. And it could bring down the Labour government as well. So this doesn't just affect the royal family. And in fact, the royal family, from what I heard, and the king especially, they welcome actually a full and fair investigation, because it will expose not just Andrew, but other members of the then Labour government, who are also in this current Labour government, to scrutiny, and what they were doing and what they may have received from Epstein as well. So it is huge. It isn't just the royal family, who, they're kind of sitting pretty in a way. They already divested themselves of Andrew. They already have a slimmed down monarchy. He doesn't do anything for them, and hasn't done for a while.
Well, and as we see this house of cards begin to shake, and that is probably the understatement of the world, our mind is also on the survivors who came through this experience, and also the one who was lost. Thank you so much, Amanda Foreman. Great conversation. Appreciate you. Hope to see you back soon.
We want to read now the entire statement from Virginia Giuffre's family. It reads this: "At last today, our broken hearts have been lifted at the news that no one is above the law, not even royalty. On behalf of our sister, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, we extend our gratitude to the UK Thames Valley Police for their investigation and the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. He was never a prince for survivors everywhere. Virginia did this for you. Let's bring in our CBS News royal contributor. That's Roya Nikkhah. She is a royal editor for Britain's Sunday Times, and I know that she's getting in position even as we speak. But Roya, we're very excited to have you this morning because we all woke up to this news, and I have to say, we're all still processing it here in the States. I can't imagine what's happening in the UK. Do you know yet if the king is going to respond directly to the arrest of his brother?
Well, good morning, Gail. This is all happening very fast, but we have just literally this minute had a statement from the King about the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and I can read that statement to you now. He says, "I've learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and the suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I've said before, they have our full, wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all." And that statement from the King is signed Charles R. So that is the response. Extraordinarily, we are due to see the King open London Fashion Week imminently, as his brother has been arrested this morning. So that's just in, Gail.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it was stunning. For us here in the United States, did you all have any heads up? Was there any talk that this was possibly in the works? Were you all as surprised as we were here in the U.S.?
There has been momentum building over the last few days, Gail. We saw yesterday, I think, an accumulation of around 7 or 8 police forces getting involved. We also had the involvement announced yesterday of the NCA, which is our national crime agency, sometimes described as the British FBI. So there has been a feeling that police forces could no longer not look at this very seriously, and I think it has been moving in one direction. That said, to see those police cars arriving, about 8 of them this morning, at the Sandringham estate, at Wood Farm, where Andrew is temporarily staying, is quite a moment. This is the King's brother who has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in a public office, the first senior royal to ever be arrested.
Roya, it's Vlad. Have we heard anything at all from the prince's former wife, Sarah Ferguson, and his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, and how they are perhaps reacting to this news?
But at the moment, this is all very new. We have not yet heard from the former Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, or from Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. It has been quite interesting in the last few weeks. Sarah Ferguson, we know, has been abroad a little bit. She has kept a very low profile, as have the princesses. Obviously, very difficult time for them. It's been made very clear from the palace and from the King that regardless of what Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor may or may not have done, and we must stress he has always denied any wrongdoing in this issue, that the King has always been very clear to keep the girls close, but this is going to be a very difficult time for them. Things have seriously escalated now.
Roya, the phrase misconduct in office, what exactly does that mean? I'm not familiar with that. And what happens now?
Well, misconduct in a public office, there's various forms of it. What the police are looking at specifically here is the emergence of what the emails in the Epstein files appear to show, which is that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, during his decade as the UK's trade envoy from 2001 to 2011, appeared to send sensitive, highly classified documents and information, government information, briefing information on things like reconstruction in Afghanistan, on things like investment opportunities around the world, from his trips around the world, from China contacts, to Jeffrey Epstein, and there is a suggestion, not proven, there's a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein may have used some of that information to his financial advantage. We must stress again that Andrew has not been charged. He has merely been arrested on suspicion of this and denies any wrongdoing. But if someone is charged and if they are found guilty of that offence, it does carry a maximum life sentence.
Wow. All right. Roya Nikkhah, we appreciate you getting on the air for us this morning with the breaking news. Thank you very much.
A former prince spent 11 hours in a British jail today under investigation for possible wrongdoing as a trade official. This is not, at least not yet, about sex trafficking or sexual abuse related to Jeffrey Epstein, but it arises out of suspicions linked to Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's long-running relationship with Epstein. The King of England endorsed the arrest. When the reputational and now potentially criminal blast radius of the Epstein investigation reaches the monarchy, it is a global news event. For years, Virginia Giuffre said Epstein trafficked her to the former Prince Andrew in 2001 when she was a teen. Giuffre also alleged the former prince sexually assaulted her. Andrew denied this for years, but reached a settlement in 2022 with Giuffre in New York, transferring an unknown sum of money without admitting guilt. Giuffre took her own life last year. Her brother and sister-in-law, passionate advocates in Virginia's memory, will join us in just a moment. First, we turn to MTS Tayeb for the latest on Andrew's arrest. MTS, you're up late. It's been a very long day. Catch us up on the entire panoply of events dealing with the former prince, the reaction there, and the monarchy itself.
Major, what an extraordinary day. I have to be honest with you, when I saw that alert that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the man formerly known as Prince Andrew, had been taken into police custody, while I thought something like this could happen, to see that it actually did was shocking. British police, crossing a threshold once thought unbelievable, taking a member of the royal family into police custody to be questioned. Now, he has since been released. We've seen that image of Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, released from police custody. That doesn't mean he's a free man. He can be arrested again at any time, and that investigation continues. One of the places that he used to call home, a place called the Royal Lodge, is still being searched by police. They're looking for things like laptops, cell phones, documents, anything that could underscore this investigation into the allegations of misconduct in public office. That is what they are investigating Andrew for, a charge so serious that if he's convicted, and if he's charged and indeed convicted, he could face life in prison. Major.
And MTS, explain to our audience just how big a deal it is for the King of England to not only endorse this, but to say, as he did, he wants all of this to play out and is fully supportive of wherever this investigation might eventually lead.
Well, Major, here in the UK, the royal family is known as the firm, which tells you that it's sort of seen almost as a business that the royal family is a part of. And that has to come first, not the individual players. And Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is frankly not as important as the institution itself. You're looking at Buckingham Palace behind me. This is a 1,000-year history, which of course has seen a lot of up and downs over the years, but King Charles making it very clear that the law must run its course, if that involves his brother being charged and indeed convicted, well, that is what the law will do. It is still striking and shocking. Never in the modern history of the British royal family have we seen anything like this. You used the word blast radius in your introduction. That's really what it feels like here in the UK. Right now, the king trying to keep calm and carry on. In fact, going to a London Fashion Week event as normal, quote unquote, still being shouted questions about his brother and his conduct. This is something that's going to be rocking this family for quite some time. Major.
And it may have implications for British politics as well. MTS Tayeb, thank you very much.